scrambling to adapt. In a stunning move, Canada has shifted its focus from its long-standing what if one country's decision could shake the global energy market. Canada's bold pivot to the EU is doing just that, leaving the U.S. Energy partnership with the United States to forging new alliances with the European Union. But what does this mean for the global energy landscape, and how will it impact the U.S. economy? Let's dive into the story behind this seismic shift. Canada, a nation rich in natural resources, has long been a cornerstone of North America's energy security. With vast reserves of oil, natural gas, and critical minerals, Canada has been a reliable supplier to its southern neighbor, the United States. In fact, Canada accounts for nearly a quarter of U.S. oil imports and is the primary source of natural gas and electricity for many American states. This deep integration has made Canada an indispensable partner in U.S. energy strategy. However, recent developments have disrupted this decades-long partnership. The imposition of U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods, including a 10% tariff on Canadian oil, has strained relations between the two nations. These protectionist measures have pushed Canada to explore new markets, and the European Union has emerged as a key player in this energy realignment. The turning point came when U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum, followed by threats of further trade restrictions. This move was met with surprise and frustration by Canadian leaders, who viewed it as a betrayal of their long-standing trade relationship. In response, Canada has accelerated its efforts to diversify its energy exports, signing new trade agreements with the European Union and Asian markets. This shift marks a dramatic departure from the status quo and raises critical questions. What does this mean for the U.S. economy? How will this impact global energy security, and what are the broader geopolitical implications of Canada's pivot to the EU? The U.S.-Canada trade tensions didn't happen overnight. They are the result of a series of protectionist policies introduced by the Trump administration, aimed at reducing the U.S. trade deficit. While these measures were intended to protect American industries, they have had unintended consequences, particularly for Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expressed his disappointment, stating, "We have always been a reliable partner to the United States, but these tariffs make it clear that we need to look beyond our southern border." This sentiment has resonated across Canada, leading to a renewed focus on trade diversification. The Canada-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, signed in 2016, has become a cornerstone of this strategy. CETA eliminates tariffs on nearly all goods traded between Canada and the EU, opening up a market worth over $3 trillion. For Canada, this agreement represents a golden opportunity to reduce its dependence on the U.S. market. As Canada strengthens its ties with the EU, the implications for the United States are profound. The U.S. has long relied on Canadian energy to fuel its industries and power its homes. Canadian oil, particularly heavy crude, is essential for U.S. refineries, many of which are specifically designed to process it. Without Canadian imports, the U.S. would need to turn to alternative sources, such as Venezuela or the Middle East, exposing itself to geopolitical risks and higher costs. Moreover, Canada's pivot to the EU could weaken the U.S.'s position as a global energy leader. As Canadian oil and gas flow into European ports, the U.S. may find it harder to maintain its dominance in international energy markets. This shift could also lead to higher energy prices for American consumers, as the U.S. loses access to affordable Canadian resources. The climax of this story came in 2023, when Canada finalized a landmark energy agreement with the European Union. Under this deal, Canada will supply the EU with 1 million barrels of oil per day, along with significant quantities of natural gas and critical minerals. This agreement not only solidifies Canada's position as a global energy powerhouse, but also marks a turning point in the global energy landscape. For the EU, this deal is a strategic win. It reduces Europe's dependence on Russian energy and strengthens its energy security. For Canada, it represents a bold step toward economic independence and global influence. But for the United States, It raises troubling questions about the future of its energy strategy and its relationship with its closest ally. The long-term implications of Canada's pivot to the EU are far-reaching. For the U.S., the loss of Canada as a primary energy supplier could lead to higher energy costs, reduced energy security, and a weakened position in global trade negotiations. It could also force the U.S. to rethink its protectionist policies and seek to rebuild its relationship with Canada. For Canada, this shift represents an opportunity to diversify its economy and reduce its reliance on the U.S. market. By strengthening its ties with the EU and Asia, Canada is positioning itself as a key player in the global energy market. This could lead to increased investment, job creation, and economic growth for the country. On a global scale, Canada's pivot to the EU could redefine energy security and trade dynamics. It highlights the importance of diversification and the risks of over-reliance on a single trading partner. It also underscores the growing influence of the EU as a global economic power. As the world transitions to cleaner energy sources, Canada's vast reserves of natural gas and critical minerals will play a crucial role in shaping the future of energy. By aligning itself with the EU, Canada is not only securing its economic future, but also contributing to a more sustainable and secure global energy system. So, what does Canada's surprising pivot mean for the future of global energy? Will the U.S. adapt to this new reality, or will it continue to lose ground in the global energy market? One thing is clear: the decisions made today will have far-reaching consequences for years to come. What are your thoughts on this seismic shift? Share your comments below and join the conversation about the future of global energy.